Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka. It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a minisode of Baka. Normally, we are an anime podcast who talks about an anime we just watched over the past 2 weeks. But in between, while we're still watching, we like to talk about random topics that come to our head. Now, on the time we recorded this, it was International Tabletop Day. That would have been about a week and a half ago for those listening. Kind of a problem with our recording schedule on these minisodes. But with that in mind, board games have been on my mind. And when I went to pick up a topic from the top of my mind, that's all that was left. So we have done multiple times animes into video games and trying to design it and back and forth. This time we're doing animes into board games. And to help me talk about it, first off, we have the free parking to my Monopoly. Jeremy.
Hey! I know what Jason is. Hey, for once I can actually see the correlation. I think. So yeah, hi.
Hey, what's up? What have you been up to?
I have been up to modding RimWorld, and yes, I've actually made significant progress. I have rewrapped the planet, or at least the continent, in Morrowind-specific biomes. And the Graysland, the Graysland is already panning out. I have created art assets and put them in and eliminated all native tech and various other assets. It looks like Morrowind. I'll be working on animals next and then importing or creating all the races. And it is, it's so much fun. I don't know why, but modding is more fun to me than actually playing the game. So yeah, progress report completed.
All right. And then we also have the slap to my jack, Jason.
Oh, I thought it was going to stay in Monopoly.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Hit me.
You know, with these minisodes, I don't really prep. I kind of do my best.
I think that's why we need to do more ghost stories.
Next week? Ghost Stories is next minisode, right?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I finally finished Rusty Lake, and it was a great ending. Which is not really the story ending, but
because the last game is like the first of the story,
right? And you find out because you are playing as Mr. Owl.
Spoiler.
Oh, spoiler alert!
I'm never going to play it. It's okay. Nobody else listens to this. Nobody else listens to this. It's not ghost stories.
That's right. So yeah, that was a great twist. And yeah, kind of blew my mind. But
that 10th plague, man. 10th plague.
Well, I wasn't expecting the betrayal. I'll leave it at that, since I've already spoiled the ending.
Go for the gold.
Right. How about you, Troy?
So I had mentioned I was watching The Office, and I got to the same point in The Office where I always get to, and I stopped caring about The Office. It's right before
Carell dies.
It
dies. He totally does. Like when that happens, it's over.
Right before. It's like a season before he leaves, and I'm just you can tell they're kind of. It's after the Michael Scott Paper Company part. So I switched over to watching New Girl again, which is another sitcom I really enjoy. It's like it's this crazy thing because it's not a great sitcom, but
I never liked it.
Does it have Kelly? No, it's not the one where the girl from The Office goes?
That's the Mindy Project.
Or Mindy Project. Okay, I thought that's what
this is with Zoe Deschanel. But let me see what I gotta say.
Deschanel.
The character Nick in this show is played by Jake Johnson, and every time I watch this show, he's so darn charming and so great with his comedic timing. I say this guy is going to be a huge star, and I'm sticking to that because the last time I said that while watching a sitcom was a show called Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. And I said, this guy is hilarious and he's going to be huge. That actor's name was Ryan Reynolds. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I can call him. However, also on Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, the hot boyfriend of the main girl, I was like, this guy sucks, and he's not doing anything. His name was Nathan Fillion, and I am so sorry, sir.
Oh.
A little trivia. Nathan Fillion and Ryan Reynolds were in a sitcom together.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been watching New Girl and I call it the Nick Show because that's the only reason I'm watching. Let's talk about board game, guys. Like I said, usually we do video games in a lot of our minisodes, but it was International Tabletop Day, and I've been playing a lot of tabletop board games, and I wanted to turn animes into one. So
now, this isn't specifically board games; it could be card games.
Card games.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The thing is tabletop games. It doesn't have to be on a board. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Go first.
I'll go first with my fourth. So first off the bat, and I think this would be so much fun to play. And I think you would love it, Troy, because you already play a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a pandemic style game that's cooperative, and you can have up to like 4 or 5 players. And your job, instead of stopping pandemics, is to stop witch afflictions in the Madoka Magica realm. And you're each a magic girl, and but it gets better. You're putting your powers towards stopping it in the various ways unique to each magical girl's power. However, they can be corrupted and turn into a witch themselves, at which point they change sides and they're working against the remaining players.
I like that.
Wow. Yeah,
that'd be fun. That'd be a good anime turned into a board game too.
Yeah, I would.
For the heck of that.
How
about you, Jason?
The first one that came to mind was semi co-op, but also PvP board game. So the way it would be set up is it's based on Cavalry of the Iron Fortress. It would be a board where you've got a train track going across in like a snake pattern, and each person is in charge of the zombie horde, and whichever player can invade and take over the train.
Wait, so you're the zombies?
Yes, each player is a zombie.
That's awesome.
And so the train is a timer, and each player that then tries to either through cards or through rolling the dice can either try to impede one of the other players from getting to the train, or they can try and take over it themselves. And then there would be a whole other mechanic for actually taking the train, or you would get fought off, and then you would have to try again.
So could you have like expansion packs where you add other problems for the train, like Bieber?
Right. So basically, what I'm thinking is like you're not like encroaching upon the train. Like the train would like have stops, right? And so like you would have a hand, and in the hand had different events or problems or upgrades. And when the train stops, you would then in turn order play all your cards one at a time to then the bridge fell out on your horde, so then the horde goes down, so they like lose a turn, right? And then the next person would be like, okay, I'm going to just attack the train, and then there would be like a little like dice battle, and then like if you get fought off, it'd go to the next person, and then once you're all out of cards, the train would then go to the next stop.
That's cool. I could see like the Bieber expansion being something that comes in and is like, I'm directly attacking your horde.
Right.
And the dudes like make you discard cards.
Just so we're clear, Jeremy is only coming up with that part of the idea because he wants to say Bieber as many times as he can. Because he can.
I hate that character.
Ripping on that character.
Great. I
do want to point out, Cavalry of the Iron Fortress gets a lot of mileage on our minisodes for an anime that wasn't like one of our top ones of all time.
But it's good.
Comes up a lot, but it's very. Yeah. It's got a great theme. The train really lends itself to a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, George?
So I'm gonna go with my number one anime of all time, Full Metal Alchemist. I had to. So you play as 2 random alchemists. And the game is you're collecting resources like salt or copper or all these different minerals, and you're trying to perform a human transmutation. That's so you have to collect the different elements of the human body and also knowledge, and you can use alchemy to create different elements and help you. And you have cards that come in, and in the first round or first level, there would be local villagers that are impeding you, right? And you'd have to use alchemy and your knowledge to get rid of them. In the second round, the state military comes in, and now they're impeding you. In the third one, you have the homunculi, who are very powerful, and you have to stop them. If you manage to get to the end, it's a co-op game, but at the end, whichever player did best uses the human soul from the other player to perform the human transmutation and complete it. because
Great.
You can't do human transmutation without a soul. Right. I think that would be really fun because so you're working together, but you're also trying to do better than the other guy. Like, I gotta go faster and get more stuff.
So this is a distinctly 2-player game. That way you never have to be like, I get to pick whose soul to use. It's like, you are my opponent.
I could see it being 4, and then you transmute all 3. I originally envisioned it as 2. Now, I do want to say I hate co-op games that suddenly become competitive at the very end, but it fits the theme of Full Metal Alchemist so much with that needing that soul, because I was like, how do they complete the human transmutation? What? Oh, there's another player.
Yeah.
So that was mine.
That's good.
Jeremy, back to you.
All right. So my next one is kind of a riff on Love Letters. I know I made fun of you last week for that game, but it made a big impression. It's a good game. Imagine Land of the Lustrous, where the gem people's Mohs hardness scale number is the value of the card. And you are playing as Lunarians, and you're trying to get the most valuable gem person.
Oh, I like that.
And then each of them has their own unique powers that are very similar to the Love Letters powers. And, you would have, instead of having them all look the same, like instead of having 5 guards for your lowest value one, you would have like a group of different individuals that you could recognize from the anime that are within that range scale of hardness. So like 1 to 3 or something.
Yeah. That would definitely work. And, Love Letter actually does get thematically changed really easily. There's been like a Munchkin version, Archer from the show version. They have all kinds of different versions for it. So that would actually.
So just a reskin.
And I think you could add some stuff about the elements though, and kind of play with it. I think that would be really cool.
Yep.
I would love to see a ReZero inspired like Warhammer 40K.
I have a similar Warhammer style game too.
Okay,
go on.
Yeah, so like each of the factions, like there's the mage faction that has some knights and stuff, but mainly like artillery. Then you've got like the knights who like they have very little. I would love to have just like that kind of set, like take all those factions, kind of leave the main characters out of it altogether. But that world with the way they did magic was really neat. And then you could have random events like a giant whale is eating your troops and everyone has to then, attack it.
Yes.
Like that would be a lot of fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah. But I never get to play it because Warhammer's too above me.
Well, the other version of that I was thinking was like Risk, like a Risk style game.
Then it's only 4
that
hours
could work.
instead of 6.
You mean 6 days?
Yeah.
My next one would be Food Wars, and I envision it as a deck building game where you're collecting ingredients.
Oh, that'd be so good.
That's awesome.
As a meal, and then your meals go against the other player whose health is their clothes. And so if you make a good enough meal, you can
take their clothes. That's awesome.
And then you would combo like, oh, I got sweet stuff, so I'm making a dessert, and so that would combo well. And I think that'd be. I know there is an anime deck building game about maids, but I've never been man enough to play.
Yeah. You have so many excuses in your household to let you play games that don't require you to be manly.
I think they might be offended if I brought it in. That's all.
Oh, okay. All right. So my third one is I'm just going to go with the Age of Sigmar version of any Fate series. So take Fate Apocrypha, for instance, because it's our most recent one. And, you do have regular soldiers, like you had the golem people. Well, you had the people and the golem, right? Because you had Yeah. And so they would be like your minion soldiers. And then you also had the major players of the factions, the heroes and the summoners, right? And I don't know, you guys familiar at all with Age of Sigmar?
No.
Okay. The way it works very simply is it is meant to be a very quick game, not that many rounds. And it is meant to have huge shifts in power play. So, for instance, you trade off, like when you're rolling to find out who gets to go first each turn, there is a chance that you'll get double turns. Like you get to have 2 full turns in a row. And so this keeps going through each round. And so there's a lot of damage that can happen in 1 turn because it's actually 2 before your opponent gets to move. And they don't get 2 turns. They get 1. So I could see that really having a big effect with like a Fate, especially Fate Apocrypha, where it's like, oh, it's time to pull out the big guns and have the hero use its what did they call them? Can't believe I can't remember, but their special abilities. Their crazy abilities.
Their my trump card? No. Else.
You know what I mean, though. Yeah. So that would be mine. It's like a Warhammer / Age of Sigmar. I know it's driving me crazy. I should know this.
No, it's like a can't scratch. Oh.
Yep. So I had to add a tabletop game, like a minis game in there.
I think that'd be good. How about you, Jason?
The last one I had was also based on Fate, but more intrigue. So have either of you played or heard of a game called The Resistance?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So the way Resistance works is if you have 5 players, or well, I think you have to have at least 5 players. Two of the players are spies, and so the way it works is you go on 5 different missions, and if you beat 3 out of the 5, the heroes win. But if you lose 3 out of the 5, the spies win. But the spies are technically on your team. You don't know who the spy is. But the spies know who they are. So it gets really fun when you
sabotaging you,
like 7 or 10 people all doing it. And so what I was thinking is with Fate, each person would be a spirit, a heroic spirit. But there would be like, a couple bad guys, right? And the way you would do it is like you would go on missions, and depending on like if you exposed your phantasm, or
that's what the word we were looking for.
Yeah,
heroic phantasm.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, the guy that's never watched it. Yeah, the guy that's never watched any other Fate except
just knows it, yeah.
Yep.
So like, if you exposed your phantasm or like different traits about you, because nobody knows who anyone else is. They just know that we're all on the same team, but we've got roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So through like deduction and like winning or losing battles instead of missions, you can then try and weed out who's a spy and who's not. And I think that'd be pretty fun.
I like that.
I'd be down for it because I absolutely love games like The Resistance.
I do
too. Resistance. Have you ever played Secret Hitler? It's actually it's horrible, but it's very much based on a very similar thing, and it plays even better than The Resistance. I love The Resistance. I've played it a ton. But Secret Hitler is the new hotness, and it does it really well. But Battlestar Galactica,
that's the one I heard of.
It's like a 3-hour board game, mini game where you're fighting everything to stay alive, and you have to fight the Cylons. But one of you is secretly a Cylon, and they're not doing so. And then if someone sucks, and you're like, "Did you just fail, or are you making us fail?"
Right.
And with Resistance is fast. It's like 10 minutes. When you've been doing it for 3 hours, and someone turns out to have lied the whole time, you want to strangle them.
Right. Yeah, because when you go on a mission, you have to like pick like only 2 of you or only 3 of you, and you have a succeed mission and fail mission. If you're part of the team, you must play the succeed mission every time. If you're a spy, you can play either or. So you can throw if you think someone thinks you're a spy and you are the spy, you can throw them off.
Throwing
a success in.
Yeah. The great thing about those games is the better you are, the worse you are. Troy has lied to us 4 straight times in a row. We haven't caught him. We'll never trust him again. wait, I mean, I'm being honest this time.
I know, because like the game will start, no one's played a card yet, and like all of a sudden, Jason's a spy. We haven't played anything yet.
Okay, so my last game is actually more just a reskin. And it's a game I'm not even super in love with, but it's called Kill Dr. Lucky.
Huh?
And it is a reverse version of Clue. It's about an old man who wanders a mansion, and you have to get your character in the room alone with him and not have any line of sight from another room, and then you can play murder cards to murder him, and if you do, you get to find his will and get the money. I want to do that for Assassination Classroom. Except for you would use Kuro Sensei's supersonic abilities and include those in there as well. And you'd play the different students and you'd give them different traits to really flavor the game. Because the thing about Dr. Luck is it doesn't have a ton of flavor. It has some of the best card stock I've ever felt in my life, but other than that, playing as those kids and getting different based on their talents and their traits, I think would be really fun. And who doesn't want to murder their sensei?
So you didn't mention that there was only 3, so I have a 4th. Can I have it as a bonus?
Yeah, well,
okay.
Let's do a bonus.
Okay, cool. So are you guys familiar with Twilight Imperium 4?
Yes. Oh, 4? I've only played the first Twilight Imperium.
Did they literally make 4? I know there was a 3.
Yeah.
But I didn't know they went on to 4.
4 just came out. So basically, it's just a variation where they drop some features and add some new features. Streamline it.
I bet there's some fanboys that are very happy about that.
Oh, yeah.
That game has its fans.
Oh, yeah. I would love to play it, but it's minimum of 3 players, so I've never actually played it. But it's a game I've read a lot about, and I think it would be really, really cool.
It's a minimum of 12 hours.
Yes.
So get you excited.
Oh, I love it. So take the Recreators mixture of universes and use that for your race profiles
factions,
and your factions, because the key thing about Twilight Imperium is how different it is, how procedural it is, and how different
magical girls every time. You couldn't stop me. If I didn't get magical girls, I wouldn't play.
So I mean, you've got wizards, you've got knights, you've got mecha, you've got magical girls, you've got the military. It's so varied. And you could play in any one of the realms too, or have different connections to different realms. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah. The last kind of call out that I didn't put a ton of thought into would be a Mushishi Clue type game, where everyone's trying to solve why the goo is coming out of the little girl's eyes.
Yep, it just is.
That'd be a good one too. I think we should wrap it up there. We'd love to hear your guys' board game variants for anime, or just tell us about the board games you love, because I love board games and maybe I'll go play them. Am I using my podcast to blatantly use my audience? Maybe. But anyway, we'd love to hear from you. If you would like to shout out to us, you can reach us on our Twitter at Baka Podcast, our email, theanimebakaclub@gmail.com, or leave a comment wherever you found the podcast and it'll get to us. Thank you guys, and I hope you all celebrate International Tabletop Day that Geek and Sundry made up like it was never really a thing.
So this isn't the one where they actually hand out tabletop stuff at the tabletop shops? Because I know that exists. Is that RPG Day?
I think it is. I think Geek and Sundry made it, but I think the tabletop shops are, why wouldn't you go along with it?
Right.
Yeah. I wish I'd known about it in advance, that like this Tabletop Day was today. I would have gone to Reaper. That's right here in Denton, Texas, not too far from my house.
Maybe not tell everyone where you live.
It's a big radius.
That's true. It's not like it's small. All right, let's say goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
Happy Tabletop Day, belatedly.
Sayonara.